Hello, you gorgeous bunch of souls. Welcome back to another episode of my weekly Wandering and Ponderings. I'm just walking through a small part of the forest here. Going to be going through some different terrain today. We're going through some fields, some farmland, some forest. I'll see where we end up. It depends how long I ramble on for. So I've had so many questions and interest and people reaching out to me since I uploaded the short talking about fear cycles. So I thought that would be an awesome way to start this wandering discussion today. And before I dive into it, one way to celebrate when you break through a fear cycle and you truly break free and you let go of the shackles of shame and fear and regret, there's literally no more room in your body for those low vibrational energies, and you start filling up with light and you start filling up with that energy of the one true source, and you start calling in amazing opportunities. So that is what I'm here to celebrate today. This week I got a 1-to-1 6-week mentorship client. A beautiful soul is going to be working with me for 6 weeks, where we meet up once a week and work through something very specific. And in this particular instance, it's helping her to break out of a fear cycle. And this is like an old looping fear cycle from childhood. I have a intuitive, sneaky suspicion that it's going to be some past life cycles and also ancestral cycles that have come and cycled into this lifetime. So exciting that we're going to be doing this together for 6 weeks. And each week we'll be going deeper into the cycle, and it's going to be a combination of inner child healing, past life, possibly a witch wound healing. It's going to be mapping the future and really visualizing that timeline, the timeline that we want her to step into once she's broken out of that fear cycle. And then there's going to be healing and integration, self-love, lots of embodiment and somatic work, the quantum healing. So super excited to have called that in. And then second thing, I'm celebrating something really exciting, because this is something that I love doing and I'm really passionate about. A client has booked me on Thursday night for a 2-hour in-person healing ritual and ceremony. So this is amazing, because this is where I get to bring together all of the beautiful tools that I've been gifted over the many years of my own healing journey, and the teachers and the lineages who've handed them down to me, and then also, through my own experiences and learnings. So super exciting. And again, this is for something very specific that the client wants to break through her habits and ways of how she's triggered and how she reacts to things. She wants to break free from that cycle so that she can then go on and do this situation that she's been putting off and off and off, so she can actually step into that from a completely different version of herself. Calm, with clarity, confidence, without getting angry or triggered. And for 1-to-1 ceremonies and rituals like this, there will be, on my end, completely intuitively guided. I have found though, when I meditate, sometimes it comes in dreams, sometimes in meditation, in the lead up to these ceremonies or these ritual spaces, that I will start getting downloads and insights where I'm connecting with the client, through their consent. Once they've made the booking, we are then connected soul to soul, and I start getting some downloads about what to focus on or what to bring and weave into the session. But it usually consists with a reading. I use a variety of oracle cards for the readings and ask specific questions and get really clear guidance. And then it will be a quantum healing and clearing, just to shift the energy And then it really depends what the client needs to move through. I like to work a lot with voice, so expressing words or sounds to get that energy flowing or moving, sometimes moving the body, and then usually ending with a guided journey so that the client can actually just receive and be. And then we'll end just with some chatting, integration, homework, moving forward. So super excited, super excited. And these are all linked in to the fear cycles and breaking free from my own fear cycle, which I mentioned in the short, so I won't go into again here, but a huge fear cycle of feeling unlovable and therefore never truly being myself. This has been going on for such a long time, and now it's like that I've broken free from that. I realized that all I want to be now is who I was when I was like 9 years old, because that was when I was free, confident, expressing myself, and it's just a really liberated place to be in, because we get to express our inner child, but from so much more of a more wise, grounded and mature place. So yeah, exciting times. And let's talk about fear cycles. Fear cycles. We don't want to be stuck in a loop, because if we're stuck in a loop, we can't expand, we can't grow, we can't evolve. And when you're listening to this, please just take in what you know to be true. You know, you don't have to agree with my viewpoint, my views of the world, my views on spirituality. Please have your own discernment, especially when you work with people as well. Even if it's someone who you really trust and respect, they may tell you something about yourself that you don't resonate with. And it doesn't mean that they're bad or evil or wrong. It just means that you have your own power and your own sovereignty and your own freedom of choice to say, yeah, that's true, or no, that doesn't resonate, and that's okay. Let's go deeper, or let's ask a different question. So I just want to first of all empower you to not totally put your own opinion and your own sense of knowing of the truth completely into someone else's hands. For everyone, no matter if you consider yourself as a healer or not, everyone, in my opinion, needs the support of someone else to help them with their healing. We all need guides, mentors, healers, support system. We're not meant to be doing this all on our own. This isn't a solitary hero's journey. You know, even if you think about monks and people who live that very solitary lifestyle where the healing is very inward and insular, they still live in a community. They all live there together and cook and clean together. So it is important that we go to other people for our healing, but it's also important that we don't totally surrender our power to that other person and give ourselves away, because we are immortal souls. We are so powerful. We are so powerful beyond our belief. And because we are in this physical, dense human body, it can be really difficult for us to feel and experience the magnitude of the energetic power and presence that we possess. But we all have it. We all do. We all do. If you're watching this, this is your reminder that you're an immortal soul and you are incredibly powerful. You are an expression of source, the one true source, and of divine love. And everything that you feel, that you question yourself about, those dreams that you have, your fantasies, it's all real. Trust yourself. Trust yourself over everyone else, and I can guarantee that will get you far in life. It might not be an easy path, and you might have people questioning you and thinking you're crazy, but it's only because you're triggering them with your authenticity. So that brings me back to fear cycles. So we in this human experience, you know, we're in cycles. There's cycles of death and birth, cycles of reincarnation, cycles. And we can get stuck. And until we start realizing that we are the only ones who have the power and can take the responsibility from breaking free from our own cycles, until we realize that, we will never be truly sovereign and free. And every single real old school spiritual teaching, I'm not talking about religion so much, but spiritual teachings teach that we are love and we come from love. Love can be found deep within us, and the truest expressions of ourselves come from deep within us. So when we think about love, what is the opposite to love? For me, it's fear. Fear is the opposite to love. And whatever your beliefs are, it's quite obvious when we look around us on earth that we are surrounded by darkness and suffering. Yes, of course, we can create a human life that is beautiful, and, you know, look where I am now, it's glorious, it's beautiful, but we can't avoid the darkness and the suffering. And there are dark forces and beings that want us to stay in this cycle and this loop of fear and of shame and all of the low vibrational states of being, because when we're not in that state, we start remembering the essence of who we truly are, which is love, authenticity, freedom, sovereignty, ecstatic joy, all of those incredible sensations that oftentimes seem to come and go in this human experience. So there are forces working against us, but at the same time, we can take responsibility for saying, I'm not having that anymore. I am not having that. I am going to be the one in the driver's seat of my life now, and I'm going to take charge. I don't want to be in an endless loop of suffering and of fear and of unhappiness. I'm going to get to the bottom, the root cause of this cycle that is keeping me stuck in looping fear. I'm going to love it. I'm going to remember it. I'm going to remember where it came from. I'm going to accept that part of me so that then I can accept every part of me that had a ripple effect as a result of whatever that situation was that set off the fear cycle. Start off with this lifetime, and then if it's necessary, you can go back into past lifetimes. Often there's deeper woundings that need to be addressed from past or parallel lifetimes. We're also living on different parallel lifetimes all the time. This is just the one that we are conscious in at the moment as I'm talking and you're watching and you're listening. It's deep stuff to get our heads around. But when you think about it, if we're in such a crazy, multi-dimensional, multiverse existence of reality, and we are in this current earth plane which wants to keep us in this loop of suffering, why don't we just say, fuck it, I'm not having that. I'm going to make this lifetime the best I possibly can. I'm going to break all the rules. I'm not going to follow what society tells me to do. I'm going to live it my way, right? And actually let yourself go there and think about what your life would look like. You know, would you be living in a hut in the middle of the forest? Would you be living on the beach? Like, all of these things are completely possible, but you have to break free from the fear cycles. It could be something so much more simple, like you could leave your 50-year career as a bank manager to become a children's book illustrator. You know, if that is what you're inner child wants, the quicker you face the fear cycles, the quicker you're going to get there. And fear cycles are super, super strong when it comes to relationships with ourselves, relationships with others. Fear cycles love to really eat on our sense of self-worth and insecurity and things like that. So super important. I'm just going to have to move myself through a bush here. So fear cycles, everyone has them. You could call them trauma, but trauma has become a bit of a trend recently in the modern world. And yes, trauma is absolutely prevalent to all of us. But for me, I feel like trauma is really quite big and traumatic experiences, but I see fear cycles as someone that's in every single person, and they're especially sneaky because it's so often that I speak to people and they say, oh, I don't really feel like I've got anything to work on or anything that needs to be healed. And you know, you might think, oh, that's amazing, that's great. For me, that's a huge red flag, because that means the fear cycle is really sneaky and insidious and has weaved its web into their life in a way that they don't even realize that it's there. So they are pretending, actually, that they're happy and everything's okay, when in fact they are just completely encased and trapped up in this spider web, so much so that they've completely buried their inner child and that true essence of who they are. And just reminding you, like, in terms of spirituality, to me, being spiritual means to be on the path of truth. So when you say that, it can be so different for every individual. Finding the path to truth, finding your path to truth. You don't have to dress a certain way. You don't have to speak a certain way, look a certain way. What I would say is the intention behind things that you do is what is important. So yeah, that is fear cycles. Cycles that we get stuck in due to an event, sometimes extremely traumatic, sometimes seemingly small, like your mum telling you that you look fat on your 10th birthday. That could actually be the start of a fear cycle, because it's a cycle that triggers a loop, and then the next thing that happens, someone says something similar and the cycle gets bigger and it gets more complex, and it's like wrapping a spider's web around us that we then have to unravel and break free from. So yeah, I hope that has helped to explain it a little bit more. You can work with me if you want to on fear cycles. I don't have one particular way that I do this. Often I will use the cards to kind of lay out the path for my clients, and then from there we will go into a quantum healing meditation and clearing, and I will talk to your higher self. I'll talk to any guides that want to come through and really get clear on it and work with it. For some people, they can have a huge life-changing shift in one session, and some people really want the guidance over like 4 to 6 weeks, and that's awesome because you can go deep into it. But sometimes just having that one powerful energy working with like a crystal clear intention on the cycle of fear, and where, why and how it is stopping you and restricting you from following your life purpose, and getting this crystal clear guidelines and I like to call them separate stepping stones, because it's up to you to follow the guidance or not, you know. And that's another thing that's really important about healing work, and as I mentioned earlier, putting your power into someone else's hands, you want to find yourself a guide, mentor, or healer who is empowering you to do the work, putting the power back into your hands. I will hold your hand and show you the way and help guide you, but it's only your heart that is going to open and shine the light. Your heart is your North Star. Your heart is a stargate. Like, our hearts are the most powerful, incredible technology, but your heart is different to mine. Even though it leads us all back to the source and the truth of who we are, we each have a different compass and a different navigation system to get there. So your heart is your North Star. So in a session, well, we use different tools to lay out the stepping stones and the path to get there, and even some practices that you can do and you can use as your tools, but it's totally up to you to get there. Action is so important in this world that we're in. We have to actually make physical changes. The energy work is fabulous for big quantum leaps and shifts in our lives and changing energetically how we feel. But in order to really break free from the cycles, we also have to make the physical changes and that forward moving motion. And it could be something as small as spending 2 minutes a day doing something, or it could be doing much bigger things for those who are ready to just really like face fear head on and just go for it. Because actually, sometimes the physical sensation of fear in the body is exactly the same feeling and physical sensation in the body as excitement. And where it goes, which path we go down, a fear cycle or this accelerated excitement and passion towards creating something, is our choice of which pathway we take. And that's what working with fear cycles can help you, the realization that you're in power of the path that you choose. We're in a free will universe. You have all of the power in your hands. Most importantly, all of the power is in your voice. The thoughts in your mind and the words that you speak, what you read and what you listen to can change your life. But this is your most powerful, magical manifestation, magical creation tool is your voice. And that is not a witchy woo-woo thing today. That is, it even says it in the Bible. It is your voice. Your voice is the most magical tool you have. Your hands are also incredibly powerful. So yeah, I'm going to leave it here now. So it's just over 20 minutes. So sending you so much love. I will drop a link for the fear cycles in the comments. And if you do want to ask any questions, just please ask in the comments. I love talking about things like this. If you are going to work with someone with quantum healing, shamanic work, whichever path that you go down, really, really make sure that they make you feel comfortable, that they're not imposing their opinions on you, that they are asking you for your consent, that they're making sure that you're okay, that they are putting the power back into your hands. They're not making you feel like you need them. That's something to be aware of when working with someone. You want to leave a session feeling incredible. You may want to continue working with them because you know that you want to go deeper, but the choice should always be in your hands. So I'll leave you with that. I'll love you and leave you.